Okay, recording started. Okay, cool. Yeah, as I told, framework is set, pack, bunch of methods and functions, commands, which make our development, our creation of automation test much easier. For example, when we test something manually, we need to open it. We need to open like Chrome browser. We need to write URL here in URL field, then go to this page, and then we can start to uh, like actually testing. Uh, if we will use code, JavaScript code to do the same things, it will be even like, so it is like three actions: open Chrome driver, open, enter like URL here, and then go to this URL. If you will use just JavaScript, it will be even more actions. It will be like not one, two. With clear JavaScript, it can be like 10, 20 lines of code, and it can be like really difficult. But what does framework? He like usually frameworks combine all these actions in some simple command, which will allow you to do action which you need. For example, as I told, we're gonna open our browser on some web page. In this case, like yeah, Cypress. In this case, we can check which. Yeah, let me send this link to you. Just like for the future, so you will be able to use it. Yeah, and every framework has a bunch of commands, and in these commands, it's like it is API, and yeah, here is commands. Every command does something, and usually like under hood, it is a lot of line of codes, and it is like really difficult to reproduce. But since we already use framework, we can easily just use one command for it. We started to talk about opening Chrome browser or any browser and moving on some web page. And for this action, we can easily use. I'm trying to find it. Command visit. Command visit. So, and in our case, this action will be done just by using one command, Cypress visit, and then we write like our URL. If I will write doc cypress.io, so when I will run my framework, it will automatically open for me this web page. Yeah, like currently, like nobody writes application or automation tests from the scratch. Everybody use frameworks because it is, first of all, it is much easier. It can save a lot of times, so it can save a lot of money for the company. Yeah, every framework is specific. For every framework, you can find some documentation, and you can learn it by yourself or on some course. But we will not talk about like all frameworks because I believe nobody knows all frameworks, and like we usually, like when you join some project, they already use some frameworks, or if it is pretty new project, they decide what they're gonna do, like which application they want to create, which test they want to write for this application, and based on these decisions, like on these reasons, they pick some framework for applications, some framework for automation tests, and start to develop it. And yeah, our goal today is create our small project, our own small project, and write few test cases, few automation test cases, and see how it will work. Yeah, it is a bit theory. So before we will move forward to some practice, do you have any questions about frameworks, about what we're gonna do today? No? Okay, cool. So in the chat, I asked you um, to install some prerequisites to be prepared for the lesson. So could you raise hand who installed everything from the list which I sent in the chat? Okay. Okay. Almost half of all people. Okay. Yeah.
Excuse me, but can you show us because I think not just me have some problem with uh Python or something. I don't know how it's pronounced.
Python. Okay.
Yes.
Uh,
Because I'm not sure if I download correctly.
okay. So how to install it? Yeah. Okay.
No, I already installed it, but I'm not sure if it's correct.
Uh, so we will know it when we start to work. If I mean, like when we will start to create our project and when we'll start to write our first test, if everything will go smoothly, so that means everything was installed correctly. Actually, there is no like way to check if it was installed, but yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So okay, let's get started. So first of all, for every application, for every project, we will need to create like um, separate folder. So let open Finder or Explorer for Windows, and like just pick place where you want to store your future project, your future test automation repository. Repository it is folder with your code for your project. So yeah, usually just folder with the bunch of code. Um, okay, I'm going to go to my folder. So I have folder for all my projects. It has like simple name pro, and here I'm going to create one more folder with our today's project. It will be free automation. You can name it by any way how you want to name it. Yeah, main goal is to create empty folder. You can see that this folder is empty, and now I'm going to open this empty folder in my Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code, it is code redactor. By the same way as with Microsoft Word, yeah, to write some text, you use Microsoft Word or you use Notepad or something like that. So for code, we use Visual Studio Code. It is just redactor where you can write your code and then do something with this code. Okay, let me open it. A lot of okay. Then I go and in the files. So for Windows, it should be like something similar. Here you should find open line. Click open, and I'm going to open our empty folder. So it is folder pro. Then free automation. It is here. So as you can see, I have nothing here. I don't have any files. I don't have anything in this folder, and like it is our first checkpoint. We're going to create our first file in our repository. So before we start to create something, we need to initialize our runtime, our node. So I asked you to install Node.js. Node.js, it is like runtime. It is other saying it is core where we run our JavaScript code. For example, a long time ago, JavaScript code could be run only in in the browser, for example, in the Chrome browser, in some console or somewhere else, and it was only browser language. But currently, then developers created runtime Node.js, which allows us to run JavaScript everywhere. I mean, like you can run it on your laptop, and you don't have to. You shouldn't have a browser for it. You can run any application on the JavaScript without like browser. But still, we will manipulate with the browser today. But again, it's just a bit theory. So how to initialize our runtime, our Node.js inside of our project? We have to open terminal. So here will be terminal, new terminal. And here we need to write npm init y. So what does mean this command? Like init, it means initialize. npm it is not package manager. It is manager for packages inside of Node. For example, like our next step will be to install Cypress to run our automation test. And what we do here, we initialize our Node runtime, and this Node runtime will be connected to all packages which are in open space source. And by using just simple commands, we will be able to install any package, any framework, any library, anything from the terminal, like directly from open source to our laptop, to our current project. And npm init I, it is just to initialize this Node.js runtime and to connect it to like Node package manager. Yeah. Tanya, question?
Oh no.
No? Okay. Okay, I click enter, and we can see that we got new file here, package.json. Package.json file, it is summary of your project. You can see like name of this project, current version, and some like bunch of information. We will talk about every line like on our like main course, but like for first test, it is not really important. Next step will be installing Cypress. So now when we have our project, when we initialize Node.js there, we're gonna install Cypress. And how we can do it is npm install Cypress. Any library, any framework can be installed by writing npm install and then name of this framework or library which you want to install. Also, when you open some documentation for some framework, for some package, you always will see some command to install it. Right here, it is npm install Cypress, so you can use it. Probably I need to send it in chat. Yeah, just in case. Now I can click enter, and you will see that installation started. Depends on like your internet speed and laptop power. It can be faster, it can be slower than in my case, but in the end, you will see that installation is successful. I should get this message, but it is still installing. And you will see, yeah. So added 165 packages. So it is successful message about installation. So after installation, you will see one more package log.json file. Why we need this file, we also will talk on the main course. And you will see node modules. What is node modules? As I told, like framework. It is set of commands, set of methods. But again, these methods could be created also by using some another framework, by using some other libraries. And like in the end of the day, we have like chain of dependencies. Our project depends on Cypress. Cypress depends on few more libraries and frameworks, and we have like tree of dependencies. And all this code is stored here. Like when we write like npm I Cypress, we install all code, all native code which is necessary to run some command. Yeah, as I told you, like to open some website, we will need like 10, 20 lines of code. And but in our case, we will use only one line, but under hood, we will have a lot of commands, a lot of lines of code, and all this code can be found here. Yeah, we will not stop on at this like right now, but yeah, just to give you a high level uh, idea what is it. Uh, yeah, now when we have all necessary models for us, we can actually open our Cypress first time. And so for it, we need to use command npx Cypress open. And right now I will get no, I will not get any message, but probably you will. Oh, I got it. It looks like this is your first time using Cypress. Yeah, you will get this message because you didn't open Cypress in this particular project before. So yeah, you will get this message. And what we can see here, Cypress, it is testing framework, and it can be used for end-to-end testing, like automation testing, which we will talk right now. And next and second like option for Cypress, it is unit test, but it is mostly for software developers, and you don't need to think about it right now. So we pick end-to-end testing, and yeah, here is a bunch of configuration files which will be added right away. So why Cypress is so popular? Because it is easier to install and easy to start to write like first test. It doesn't require to have some knowledge about JavaScript. It doesn't require to have some knowledge about like configuration of frameworks. It will create some default uh, some default repository with default settings for you, and you will be able to start writing your first test right away. That's why it's so popular, because it's just like easy to start. We click continue here, and I click start end-to-end testing in the Chrome. So here we have two options. Cannot hide it. Okay, we have two options here. First one is just create a repository with empty file. Like so, our code should be written in some file, and these files um, in the automation testing will be called spec. Spec, it is bunch of tests. Yeah, it is your one test scenario. It is spec. One test scenario, it is spec. For example, when you test login page, you write bunch of tests, positive tests, negative tests there, and yeah, all these test cases can be combined in one like in one test scenario, or in one yeah, let's say it's test scenario. And this test scenario is called like spec in the automation. So yeah, what Cypress offers to us, it offers to create repository with just empty file where we can start to write our first test, or Cypress can create for us few files as examples. So we can look at syntaxes of this framework. We can look at like particular examples, how to write our test. And yeah, we can pick this one, create some examples. And so I don't need this this window anymore. So when we created few examples with tests, we can see that new folder was added, and this folder has name Cypress. If we will open folder Cypress, we will see few more like folders inside. About features and support, we will talk on the main course, but what we need here, we need end-to-end folder. Especially in end-to-end folder, we will have our tests. So here you can see some describe it as spec, some test scenario with explanation. So here you can see a bunch of code, and like near every line you can see some comments which explains for what we use this command. For example, to open a browser, we will use Cypress visit. To test something, here, here's explanation. You can read it by yourself just to understand what is it. But what we're gonna do today, we're gonna create our own spec, our own test scenario. Yeah, to where we will add our first test. So what I did, I created new free cypress.js file, and again we can use example. I will tell a bit like what means every line which we will use. So first of all, I'm going to add this 3 references. Why we need this? Why we need this line? Because when we will start to write something, Cypress will help us in this case. I mean, you don't know all commands. It is okay. Like nobody knows all commands in the framework, and sometimes you forget something, but you remember that it is something visit. Yeah. So if you have these references to Cypress, when you start to type something, when you start to write some code, Visual Studio Code will help you to find matches, to find exactly what you need. For example, I start like CI, it says me, okay, you can use like CI for Cypress. Then I click that, and probably it is visit, and I just click V, and it helps me to find method which I need. So I need visits. I can use it. It is why we need this references type. If I will delete it, I will not get any. Okay, I still get it. Probably it is added in. Probably it is added somewhere else. Okay. Anyway. Oh. Okay. Now it's stopped to work. Yeah, I had to save my changes. Yeah. Now when I start to write Cypress, it doesn't suggest me to pick CI. Okay, anyway, I will click that, and I want to write visit, and I don't get any suggestions. So yeah, it is why we need references to Cypress to make our life easier. When we added these references, we need to write general structure of our test. So for any JavaScript framework, for any JavaScript automation test, this structure will be same. Doesn't matter if it is Cypress, if it is Test Cafe, if it is WebDriver IO, and any another JavaScript framework. Structure of the test always will be same. we have described what means like test suite, which will contain bunch of test cases. So yeah, for example, okay, test my first test suite, and inside, so here is name of this test suite, and then inside of these curly braces, we can write some test cases. Every test case can be defined by using it. So the same structure, first test case. So it is test case, and actually tests will be here. So inside of this it, actually we will write our code. Every test suite can have a lot of test cases. There is no limitation, so it can be 2 test cases, it can be 3 test cases. Absolutely doesn't matter. Yeah, there is no any limitation. You can write so many test cases as you want. And now when we figure it out with structure of our future tests, yeah, you can see how it is here. It is it it, and it is it again. And everything is inside of describe. So the same structure always. So now when we figure it out with our structure, yeah, let's write our command about which I'm talking so much. It is visit, and here we're gonna open our website which you tested manually. Let me find it for a second, just to make sure. Yeah, it is this one, so I can use it. Okay. Okay, Cypress visit, and I'll comment it. So when I comment it, when it becomes green, so you can just delete it for now because we have only one test case and we will test. Well, we will talk about like first test case right now. So what I'm going to do on our first lesson, so as our first test cases, I'm going to cover opening, yeah, some most easy, like easiest test cases. It is opening website and check that our URL is correct. Then I'm going to check that our title is here. I'm going to check that our title is text start on this page. And when we will be done with it, I will add few more small test cases. First one is when I click on get in line button, my pop-up should appear. And when I click on cancel, it should disappear. Like, it will be our first 4 easiest test cases, which we're gonna cover during this lesson. So we have, you can see that in the terminal, I have like bunch of some text, some code, and what is it? It is our Cypress is running, still running here. You can see the same structure as we had in our folder in Visual Studio Code. It is Cypress end-to-end, getting started. Here is to do, advanced examples. Here is also a lot of tests, but we need our free file, like free Cypress file, which we just created, and I'm going to open it, and I'm going to check that it works. Yeah, so we can see that my page was opened, and my first test case will be checked that URL is correct. Like when I open this website, I want to check that my URL is correct. So I'll call it like URL is correct. So I open website, and then I need to use some command to get URL, and here it already helps me. It already helps me to find command. I just wrote Cypress dot, and here is suggestion like URL. If you will open Cypress documentation, right here, you can find this URL command, and you can read what it does. But I'll say you what it does. It just takes URL from URL field, and you can compare it with some actual result. Cypress, yeah, I will write first this case, and yeah, give you time to ask questions before we will continue. Then I need to compare. So Cypress URL will get for me actual. Oops, my bad. Will get for me actual result from my URL field from here, and now I need to compare it with some expected result. To compare something with expected result in Cypress, we use word should, yeah, very user friendly. Should, then it, yeah, then inside of should we have like bunch of where is it? Okay, it is on the separate um, line, on the separate page. So anyway, yeah, in the should we have two arguments. First one is what it should be. It should be visible, or it should have some CSS property, or it should be disabled, or should be selected. We need should be or should equal. Don't remember exactly, so I'll check. Should equal, yeah, okay. Should equal and some expected result. So should equal, and after comma we write our expected result, and my expected result is this one. I copy it, oops, and paste it here. Now I can rerun my test, and I will see that my assertion was passed. You can see assert expected this URL to equal expected URL, and it passed. It's correct. Our first test case is done, and yeah, if somebody followed me, you already wrote your first test case. If not, you will still have time to make it like after the lesson. But at this moment, anybody has questions? Yeah.
So, do we need to download Cypress?
Okay. Sorry. Uh, yeah. So we don't need to download it. We use it, if you remember, in the beginning of the lesson. We use it command npm install Cypress. This command downloaded Cypress from open source through like not package manager and installed it right in our project. So not in somewhere in our laptop, but in our folder right here. So we have Cypress right here inside of node models. It will be Cypress. Yeah, it is here. So it was installed right away inside of our project.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any more questions? everything is clear or nothing is clear? Okay, so yeah, as you can see, nothing hard is here. I mean, yeah, we installed Cypress by using two commands. First command, it is npm init to initialize Node.js inside of our project. Second one, npm install Cypress to install Cypress in our project. Then we use it command npx cypress open to open Cypress. And when we opened it the first time, it created for us few examples of tests. Well, you can look at them. Yeah, check how does it look, how does it work. And we started to write our first test case. And here, pretty user friendly, we have one command to open our browser in the correct on the correct website, on the correct web application. And second command is to compare current URL on this website with some our expected result. Like URL should equal some expected result. Yeah. Two actions, two lines of code, pretty straightforward, pretty user-friendly. I hope it is understandable, but yeah, if you have some questions, feel free to interrupt me and ask. Yeah. So meanwhile, I'm going to write our second test case, which will check our title. Title is correct. Title is correct. And here is also pretty user-friendly Cypress command. Cypress title should get name of our title from the website. And by the same way, we can compare it with some expected result. Equal and and okay, I'll type it manually. Start. Okay, we added one more test case, and we can check right away what happened. We can see that two test cases are passed. Just to make sure, I run it again. And if I will open second test case, I will see that I compared text start, title text start with actually expected result, which is text start. And yeah, it is simplest test cases which we can create. And now let's create something more difficult. I mean, yeah, something more real, because that's very rare case when you're going to check title or URL on your job as QA automation engineer. Usually, what you do as QA automation engineer, you imitate manual actions by using JavaScript code. For example, yeah, this test case when I want to click on the button, check that pop-up appeared, then click on the cancel button and check that it disappeared. So as a manual engineer, you would click on it, look at this pop-up, and then click on the cancel, and again look at your you would look at your page and check that it disappeared. How we can write it by using JavaScript code, by using Cypress code. Again, I'm going to create in this case, it is pop-up appeared after clicking button, okay, something like that. And here is like your everyday job as QA automation engineer. you need to find some selector for this button. So you need somehow you need to show to your Cypress, to your browser, that you want to click especially on this button. You need to find this button on the web page. How we can do that? We can use some selectors. Selectors, it is some specific property or bunch of specific properties which will be unique for particular element. For example, especially in this case, I can easily use ID line add button, because ID, it is uh, unique property for any HTML element. For example, you can have several elements with the same class. So we have as property, you can see this button has class, tab index, type, ID, style, and all these properties are not unique. Only ID is unique. So you can use bunch of classes, because like you see, it is one class, second class, third class. You can use combination of this class to make something unique, which will be not repetitive for another elements, or you can just use ID. Yeah, so I can use ID, I can use line add button, but I need to make sure that my button can be found by using this ID, by using this selector. So how I can check it? I can go in the Cypress flow again, and I can click on this target. Here we have field, and you already see here some code, Cypress get. What does command get? Command get helps us to get element which we need. If we will open our documentation, Cypress get, yeah, it is just command to get some element by using some unique selector for this element. And to write ID, we need to write hashtag, like £, so whatever. And then we write actually ID of our element. I copied it from our website, and now you can see that my button is selected. You can see it here. So that means my selector, my ID worked correctly, and I can use it in my actual tests. I need just to repeat this code: Cypress get £, and ID. And I'm going to use method click again, very user friendly. If you want to click something, you just use method click. Yeah, as you can see, every methods are used with round bracers because it is functions, and on the free JavaScript lessons, you could hear and you could learn that to call function, we need to write like round bracers. So to call every method, every function, here we will use round bracers. So yeah. Now, if I will check this code, my pop-up should be opened, and like, yeah, you can see that my pop-up is opened. That means my selector worked. I clicked. If I will go here, you can, why Cypress is so popular, like one more reason, because you can go on the previous steps and check how it was. I mean, like you can check all previous steps one by one. Another framework doesn't allow to do that. So yeah, it is one more advantage. And you can see we check title, and then we found our button, and then we clicked on it. Yeah, we clicked and our pop-up appeared. So now we have to check that our pop-up actually appeared. How we can do that? Again, we're gonna use our keyword should to check something, but what exactly we're going to check here? So we need to find some element inside of this pop-up which exists only inside of this pop-up. Yeah, in our example, it can be not this. Okay, I'll find it by this way. It can be first name, last name, birthday. So any of these input fields, because we know that these input fields exist only inside of this pop-up. If pop-up is closed, if pop-up disappeared, we also will not be able to see these input fields. So these input fields can be good and hard for us to check if it is visible or not. So I'm going to use ID first name. ID first name. Cypress.get first name should, and here be that. So we already saw this example in Cypress documentation a few minutes ago. It will be visible. And if we will run it, yeah, we can see that it checked right here in assert. It checked that input field is to be visible. Our test case passed. And the last test case for us today will be check that this pop-up disappears when we click on the cancel button. Pop-up. Cancel. How we're going to check it? We need to get selector. We need to get ID for this cancel button. It should be line cancel button. It's here. Yeah. What is it? Maybe I'm talking a lot about like Cypress, but I didn't tell about like some general thing. So it is DevTools. To open DevTools, you need to click right button on some place on your web page, and click inspect. And you will see like elements here. Now you can click on this like arrow sign, arrow sign with some square, and pick any element on your web page, and you will see HTML code for this particular element. And here you can find like ID and any another property. Yeah. Also, you can use hotkeys, Command Shift I or for Mac, or Control Shift I for Windows. Yeah, as I told, I'm going to take ID for cancel button. It is line cancel button. And by the same way, I'm going to take this button and click on it. And then I need to check that my first name is not visible anymore. So to check it, we need to use should not, or should. I need some help from Cypress. Should not be, or should not exist. Yeah, should not exist. Cool. I found it. Should not exist. Yeah, when I click on cancel button, my first name should not exist anymore. Let's check how does it work. And yeah, it works correctly. I clicked on the button, and my first name not exist in the DOM. DOM, it is your HTML structure. It is your HTML page. like this code which you see here, like this HTML code, it is dope. So yeah, not exist. To check that everything is correctly, we can write here should exist and check if our test will be failed, because if not, that means something went wrong with our tests. Yeah. Where is it? Okay, it was still visible, but because it started to check if it is visible or not right after my clicking, but our website is not so fast to open it right to close this window right away. So to make our test more correct, we will add one more method here, which called Cypress wait, and let's wait 1000. So inside of round bracers, we write here time in milliseconds, how much time we want to wait before next test. And I will write here 1 second. So I will click on the cancel button and I will do checking in 1 second after clicking. And now we're waiting for 1 second, and yeah, and then we got failed because our first name expected that it exists, but it doesn't exist anymore in our HTML structure. So if I will return it back to not exist as it was previously, I will get fast result. We waited for 1 second when our window will be closed, when our pop-up will be closed, and then we check that it doesn't exist anymore, and yeah, it works correct. So it is like pretty simple test cases which we could write in how many times? How many times? It is yeah, in 1 hour we already wrote our first 4 test cases. So good job, everyone. Any questions?
I'm still stuck on the Visual Studio Code.
Okay. So which problem do you have with Visual Studio Code? So yeah, right now we can like return to some of your questions. We can do it together with screen sharing. If you want, you can share your screen and we will try to do it together.
Okay.
Okay, Jacob, how is it
Yes,
going?
it's not letting me share my screen for some reason.
Okay, if you have Mac, so probably you have restriction to share screen in the browser. So probably you need to go in security settings and yeah. Okay, maybe then you can explain what exactly, which error or which problem did you get exactly, and I will show you what to do, like on my screen.
So when I get into Visual Studio Code, it just says to get started. Then I
Mhm.
put my untitled folder.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when we open Visual Studio, it says get started, yeah, like this one.
Yeah.
So just open folder and find folder which you just created. So in my case, it was free automation. In your case, it will be like maybe some another folder, maybe the same. And select it and click open. And this folder will be opened in your Visual Studio Code. But in your case, it will be like empty folder because you have not created something yet.
Right. And then
Mhm.
and then how do I start to create with the Cypress?
Okay. Now we need to like open terminal. It is here, terminal, new terminal.
Looks like I don't have that option. New terminal.
You don't have this option, like terminal.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
Okay. Did you find it?
Yeah.
Okay, now so now you need
Okay. And then from here I just enter in the C's, the Cypress.
now you need to write like npm init y to initialize Node.js inside of your project. Yeah, I sent it in our chat in the Slack.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Does it need to have the $sign on it?
Sorry.
It has like a $sign before it.
No, just like npm init y. You don't need to write any additional dollar signs, percent signs, nothing. Just npm init y. Y, npm init y. Yeah. Okay, is it done? You should see now packages on file. It should appear in your folder.
Okay, I see it.
Okay, cool. And like next step will be npm install Cypress. So it is next command.
Just showing fetch get 200 HTTPS registry npm JS.
Mm-hmm. But like loading is still in process, yeah? I mean, still processing. You have to see like line with the loading, and when it will be done, you will see message that like 165 packages was added or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I see. It was just added.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put start Cypress.
Yes, now to start Cypress, you need to write npx Cypress open.
Saying command not found.
Command not found. Okay, interesting. Did you get any error in the previous command in npm install Cypress?
No.
Could you check that you wrote like command npx Cypress open correctly? It should be npx Cypress open. You can copy and paste it in your terminal.
And they're all separate.
Mhm.
They're all separate, like with spaces in between.
Yes. Should be like at npx. Open.
Yeah, that's what I did. It's still showing now. It's showing command not found.
Try to do npm install Cypress again. Command.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, still showing command not found.
Okay, so try to share your screen because yeah, it's it
Okay,
will-
let me try to get my screen on.
Mhm. Okay, any success with it? Oh, he left. Probably he's restarting application. Okay. Okay. Let's give him a few more minutes to come back.
Yeah, I had to get me.
Okay, cool. Nice. Yeah, we can see screen.
Okay, so as you can see here, it's showing.
Mhm. Cypress command not found. Okay, interesting. Mhm. Okay, could you kill this terminal? Click on the like garbage sign on in the here and open terminal again. Not file, but just terminal. Open terminal. Okay. Okay, and try now and npx.
And this one's the install or open.
No, Cypress open. Okay, I have honest, I have not made this. I have not faced this issue before. So like, let's figure out with it like after the lesson to not keep all people struggling with this issue. I will connect with you and we will try to solve it. Interesting. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. Any other questions? Maybe somebody also try to follow me or try to follow Jacob with the steps. Tanya?
Yeah, so I put, it says verified Cypress, but then it says opening Cypress with like the three dots. Is this supposed to be like that, or because it says verified Cypress?
So when you open Cypress and pick Cypress open, it should open for you this. What is it? Yeah, this window, Cypress, where you can pick one of types of testing. One type of testing. You can share your screen. Let's see what is on your screen, and yeah, let's figure out with it. Maybe it will be something easier than Jacob's issue.
I'm doing a call from my iPad, so
Oh, okay.
it's
Maybe
okay.
maybe you can.
I'll figure it out.
Okay, maybe you can take screenshot from your laptop and send it
Okay.
in the chat. So yeah, that'll help as well. Okay. Another questions, concerns. I will try after lesson. Yeah, sure. Yeah, feel free to reach out me and ask any questions. Okay, cool. Then we can finish for today. Homework will be repeat everything what we have done during the lesson. Yeah, write these 4 test cases, and yeah, that's it. Okay, good job, guys. Have a good night, and yeah, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Have a good night. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.